Painted miniatures would take my board game collection and my board gaming experience to the next level. If I paint them well, that is. And that's a big if. Around a month ago, I set myself a goal to paint miniatures for 28 days. And I made a journal out of it. In this video, I'm gonna show you all the secrets that this journal holds. I'm gonna share all my highs and lows during this process. Plus, I tried a bunch of different equipment and techniques, and I can now share you what's actually worth buying and checking out. Maybe it's all in the equipment and not the skills. Let's get to it. Woo! I knew I needed dedicated space for this, or else it's not gonna last. So I cleared out a corner in a room, added a desk there, a chair and a lamp, as well as something to cover up the table. Because knowing me, I'm gonna spill out the paint all over the place. I have tried painting before and miserably failed, but luckily for me, that means I have everything I need to get started scattered around. A primer so the colors don't fall off, the actual paints for the actual painting, some brushes that came with the paints, and some fancy washes. They make the shadows look darker and stuff. Okay, I had no clue how they work, so I tried them out. That's what all this is about. It's a big experiment. Now to the exciting stuff. Finding my first victim. Ta-da! A horse from Assassin's Creed board game because I had multiples of it, like extra copies, and I could feel like I won't mess anything up because I don't care. It's just an extra miniature. Day one, I didn't watch any tutorials or tips and tricks. I just wanted to see where my skills are at the beginning of this challenge. I primed the mini white, then I started to paint it, adding some blue, using some metallic paint to paint the metals and make it shiny and stuff. Very fancy, I know. It was so relaxing and nice, and I actually kinda even enjoyed the result until I used the washes. I used too much of them, so now the horse looked like he has been laying in some cow poop. And that was my first mini. Now I had 27 days to improve upon it. So I clearly needed some help with this. The second day I spent painting a super simple mini and not being too bothered about the details or anything, because at the same time as painting the mini I watched some tutorials and helpful videos. I was just training my arm and making sure I'm smarter day number 3. And this was the outcome of day 2. Day 3, speed. So after watching tons of videos and learning stuff, I felt more lost than ever. Because there's a lot of information and you don't even know where to start or what to do, different techniques, different stuff. What really came to rescue were our supporters. I created a miniature painting server on our Discord channel and people gave me a few really useful tips. Special shout out to Kenji, who even made a memoir of his experiences painting minis, and he's doing really good job with his. And the most interesting part I took from that memoir was speed paints. These magical paints that make the process much quicker and no skills required. I have no skills. So obviously I needed to get them right away. On day 3, I primed the miniature black and then quickly painted it with the speed paints. And well, it was a bit better. But obviously you still need a lot of skills to paint good miniatures. Speed paints won't solve all my problems. As a dad and a busy person, I could paint this miniature so quickly that I was super excited. Don't get me wrong, it's not perfect, it's not even good, but it was promising. Day 4, I decided no speed paint. I want to do this with regular paints and just get better at the painting process itself. So I picked out a miniature that I really like and I didn't want to mess it up. This was the first time I actually mixed together new colors from the colors I already have, and the whole painting process was going so well until I ran out of the colors I just mixed. And I had no clue how to get back to the same color. I just created it by mixing these colors randomly. I was screwed. I tried getting the same color and I just couldn't. Even though the whole process for me was such a good and positive vibes, at that point I felt defeated because I thought I can do much better. It sucked. It hurts even now remembering it. Day 5, I really wanted to feel some happy emotions, and the last time I was really happy was with the speed paints and it was quick. So day 5, I decided to go back to the speed paints. It might not be the smartest approach to mix these techniques all the time, but I wanted to, So I did it, deal with it. And this was the result of day 5. It was time to get serious with painting this cat mini. I gathered feedback from other people and they all said one thing: my minis look too dark. So I was on a mission to make sure this one isn't. Also, one of the smartest things I did this time, I researched what I want to paint. I found images of people painting this exact miniature, found a style I really enjoyed and wanted to copy it, so maybe I can learn all the tricks. It's not the cleanest paint job, but overall it was a lot of progress and I enjoyed the process, even though it took me 7 layers to paint the white. And while painting the cat mini, I also realized I don't have bright enough light, so I changed the bulb, as well as created this DIY brush holder thingy. From that day on, I jumped from regular paints to speed paints, started to add more details to my minis and really progressed. I started to enjoy the hobby more and more. Progress was never linear, it was ups and downs. I really enjoyed one mini, didn't like the other one, until day 10. Day 10 by far was my biggest breakthrough. It was the first miniature I was proud of. When I finished painting it, I immediately ran down the stairs to my wife and showed it to her so proudly, and she said, "Good on you, you overgrown man-child." But I was happy. And jokes aside, she actually enjoyed it as well, and that also was really motivating. So the question was, what did I do differently day 10? The biggest change that I learned was priming the mini black and then white. It immediately gives more shadows and lights on the mini, as well as using just brighter and more contrasty colors. Plus speed paints and metal is a really good combination I found. It was super simple to do. Plus it had no face, so painting it was a bit easier. My workspace was still too dark, and Kenji in his memoir also recommended trying out a magnifying glass. So day 11 it arrived and I tried it out. It was the right temperature, it was much brighter, I can move it around. It was a brilliant purchase. The magnifying glass, it was super difficult to get used to it, but for smaller details like the eyes, I really enjoyed using it as well. Is it necessary? No, but I'm happy that I have it now. And with this new light, my good fortunes continued. I even painted the face, and the face is so freaking difficult to paint well. Very happy. So day 12 came and I was in a roll. I was really painting miniatures, enjoying the process. Then I picked up a miniature with this bird-looking fella. Again, I was super proud of the result. This mini has gotten me the most compliments. Again, researching images before, trying out painting feathers, adding more details to it really helped. And I was really building confidence in painting miniatures. Well, that is until day 13. Honestly, I was riding this high wave of speed paints and thought, I need to get back to reality. I wanted to get back to the regular paints, but I only had few of them and I really didn't like this constriction because I had a lot of speed paints and just few regular paints, so I brought in some reinforcements. And I was super excited to get to painting. The end result of the day was this. Clearly it wasn't as good as the speed paints, but I think I did a decent job and I liked the variety of paints that I could use. There's a lot of improvement and that's what this is all about. The next day I painted the birds for the lovely bird lady that I did the previous day and also was enjoying the process. That was until day 15. Let me remind myself what I wrote down. Day 15, I was painting this Lannister looking fella with gold all over. The problem wasn't that I couldn't paint it or I messed up. I just didn't feel motivated. Day 15 felt really emptying. I just don't want to do this. The next day I used speed paints, mixed them up to get the new cool looking metallic bluish color, and it was a good restart just to clear my head and feel happier about the process. He has really big and googly eyes. I'm not sure if you can see it, but it's a bit funny. Then I thought to myself, I can't just go out buying this pile of new paints and not use them. So I had to go back to them and I needed to do a good job. Day 17, I painted this fellow with the knives, with the regular paints as well as adding some washes. And I really enjoyed the results, except the base. The base looked really bad. And that's something I had to work on for sure. The next day I decided to do just that. I bought this base set that I thought could come in handy in this challenge that has glue, sand, grass and stuff like that that you could put on the base. I wanted to try it out, so day 18 was all about that. And I was super surprised how easy that was. It took me 3-4 minutes to put on the glue and just add extra stuff, and I wanted to do more of it. So what I did at the same day was I painted a horse rider for the second time, so I can add base to it and see how I'm comparing with the first day of painting miniatures. This was the end result, and I really enjoyed the horse, but I also realized I am really bad at painting metal parts without speed paints, so the horse rider didn't look that good, unfortunately. You live and you learn. Now I know the metal is not my strong suit and I have to work on it. I was just missing that dopamine dose that I got before with all the cool looking miniatures, so it was time for the speed paints again. The biggest miniature from Oatsworn, the big bear, and I wanted him to look really cool, and this was the end result. I really enjoy it. I think it looks colorful, the blue pops. If after this challenge I will paint miniatures, most likely will be with speed paints. It's easier to get it done and get it to the table. If I have a lot of miniatures to get to the table, I will always use speed painting. But it's just day 19. I might be wrong. So the next day I was continuing the same path, and to be honest, I think I learned the most from painting this one, because its face looks ridiculously bad at the end product. I didn't like the miniature, and that really helped me figure some things out. Sometimes you really need to fail to get back up and get better. So I researched some things, how to paint faces and other details. The next day, the day 21st, was I think my favorite mini yet. This wedge miniature is so clean. I really enjoyed it. I added details for the lamp as well. This was the first time when I really enjoyed how the base looked. I enjoyed how the clothing looked, how the tree glowed because of the lamp, and the face had details. After getting that dopamine and feeling so good, I thought it's not too late to paint another miniature in the same day, and that was my biggest failure of this whole challenge. After doing such a good job, I did the worst miniature I painted the whole challenge. I didn't finish it because I painted one layer with the speed paints, realized that looks really bad, then painted with the regular paints, realized that looks really bad. After failure and failure again, I just stopped. I did not finish this miniature. This miniature is my biggest failure. I will get back to it someday, just not today. After that setback, I had just one thing to do, which is to learn. So I dedicated the next day to learning, to watching all the pros do it, and this I think is the most useful page in this book. Maybe I should have done it quicker, but I also don't think I would have realized what I actually need to research. So I spent the whole day learning, and it's a really good thing that I did, because I decided the only logical thing to do after painting the biggest failure I've done the whole challenge is to paint the biggest and most challenging miniature, and I decided to use no speed paints, no metal paints, go big or go home. It's gonna be tough, but I felt ready for the final showdown. On this miniature I tried wet blending. For the first time I painted a miniature in one color, and while it's not dried up, I immediately added another color so it blends together. It's a very risky method, but it should give me a really good result, and I wanted to try it, and I did, and I think it paid dividends. I painted so many layers and added so many highlights that the whole day was spent just layering the muscles. It was a lot of work, a lot of hours put in. Even though I didn't enjoy it, and then repainted it the next day and added more details, and then I could go to the cloth and painted that. So 2 days were spent just painting the body and the cloth. I was hoping so much that it's gonna look good, or else all this effort, all these hours would be just wasted. It looked completely different than any other miniature I have painted until then. Day 25 was about metals and chains. I previously said I'm not good at painting metals without speed paints, but I had to do it. So I tried my best at painting it, and the whole day 25 was spent doing just that. Okay, so day 26 was a special day because I did not paint any miniatures. Oops. Because my brother was getting married, I took one day off, but it was a good day. Day number 27, there are these triangles on the back of the miniature, and I really wanted for them to look good. Yeah, the whole day was spent just coloring in those. The end result, I wasn't too happy about it, but I also realized that after spending the whole day painting them, I can't redo them, at least not now. So sometimes you just have to say, okay, that's good enough, that will do. Day 28, the miniature was almost done except the base, and I didn't want to cheat with gluing sand or anything, I wanted to paint it. So I spent day 28 painting the base. And after 28 days of painting miniatures, this was the end result. I did not use any speed paints, any shortcuts. This was the toughest assignment I could have given to myself, and I was super proud. Am I the best painter in the world? No, but did I make progress in 28 days? Absolutely. Well, to say it was a roller coaster would be an understatement. It was fun, it was tiring, it was challenging. Yes, my 28-day journey is at its end and I deserve some sleep. But if you're interested in how you can paint minis in just 30 minutes and make it look awesome, leave a comment down below and we will create a video about just this topic. Also, consider becoming our Patreon, because these story videos take so much time and effort, and our supporters are the ones that actually make them happen. Would you like to see 100 days of painting minis?